Hey friends, okay, sorry for the way I look. I have dressed in faith that I will go to the gym this evening after 5 o'clock. Sometimes if I dress in faith, I will do what I set out to do. So I was reading in 2 Samuel this morning, excuse me, and I came across this story that I've read 100 times, but something just keeps popping for me. You may know the story of David and Mephibosheth. I'm a Bible teacher. I can say names. David and Mephibosheth. So David at this point is king over all of Israel, and Saul has been killed. He was the previous king of Israel. And oftentimes what happens when there's a change in dynasty is that the sitting king will kill everyone in the previous king's household. And they would do that to ensure that there wouldn't be like an overthrow attempt. And David does something really, really interesting. It says in chapter 9, now there was a servant in the house of Saul, previous king, whose name was Ziba, and they called him to David. And the king said to him, "Are you Ziba?" He said, "I am your servant." And the king said, this is the cool part, "Is there not still someone of the house of Saul that I may show the kindness of God to him?" That's the Hebrew word chesed, and that's the word that describes God's loving kindness to us, that salvific kindness that came down from heaven, embodied Christ, died so that we might live for eternity. And what's so interesting about this is that an ancient hearer or reader in this time period would fully expect this to be an assassination attempt. And instead of an assassination attempt, because Mephibosheth technically is the enemy of David, instead of an assassination attempt, David goes out of his way to extend kindness to him, not just kindness, but chesed, God's loving kindness, salvific kindness, and then brings him into his family, essentially. He makes sure that Mephibosheth, who we know is crippled, and by the way, the author brings that up twice. That's interesting too, that repetition. And brings him into his house. He gets to eat at his table, David's table, for the rest of his life. And David makes sure that Mephibosheth is cared for the rest of his life. Why does the author go out of his way 2 times to say that Mephibosheth was crippled? I think that we are supposed to understand that Mephibosheth is completely helpless. He can do nothing for himself. Because he's lame, he needs people to provide for him. He even needed someone to bring him into the king's presence. And you know what that makes me think? I am Mephibosheth. And so are you, because we could do nothing to save ourselves. We could do nothing to make ourselves good. But God, in his chesed, in his loving kindness, reached down to us and has brought us to himself. And ultimately, in Revelation, we will dwell with God. We will dine with God. We will live with God. We will abide with God for all eternity. David in this picture is pointing forward to Jesus, the chesed that Jesus will show to us. And you and I are just the lame enemy of God, crippled, who can do nothing for himself. And even though we were enemies of God, God in his kindness says, "You're mine, and you're going to dine with me all the days of your life." Isn't that cool? Okay, just wanted to share that with you. I love you, and I hope you're having a fabulous day. Mwah!